Hey everyone, this is Tim Enlow, and welcome to I Want to Be an Evangelist. This podcast is designed to assist you in discerning the call of God on your life, or maybe sharpening in it. But also, it also helps us to hear stories of people experiencing the call of God and the Lord ordering their steps. So I'm really excited about today's video. And Aaron, man, it's so great to have you. You're a great friend, and I appreciate so much. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and I'm excited for another episode here of I Want to Be an Evangelist, and I'm excited for our guest, who Tim. I'll let you have the honor of introducing her in a moment, but I have just recently had the opportunity to build a little bit of a friendship, and she has been a great voice of encouragement and some great book recommendations recently, and so this is going to be a great episode.
Fantastic. Well, we are privileged to have Dr. Shirleas Washington with us today. She leads Scholar Ministries based out of St. Louis metropolitan area, and such a fantastic, unique ministry. And I'm just, wow, on every level. Every time I spend time with her, my wife and I are both like, good night. Is there nothing she can't do? I mean, I know that's true with all of us, the power of God, but we're so glad to have you, Shirley. Thank you so much for joining us, and we're glad to have you here today.
Great to be here, and I'm excited to make myself available for this call. And I appreciate you inviting me to be on it. That's confidence, so I appreciate that.
Well, tell us a little bit about your background, and then we'll move into how you got called into your present ministry.
Okay. Well, I was a lifelong career educator. Ironically, I only taught for 10 years, but I was an administrator for the other 20.
Okay. Yeah.
But yes, and so I do have an earned doctorate in educational policy and leadership. I also have done some postgraduate work, but the most important postgraduate work I've done after all of those years of study was when the Lord called me to be a full-time preacher, if you will. And no one was more surprised than I was. Because I had been a worship leader in church and always was involved with music, choirs, praise teams, special music, guest minister, all of that kind of stuff in the music aspect. So to do stand up preached word was just not even a part of my thinking. But I heard the Lord on 3 separate occasions in the middle of the night in my sleep, that part of the night where everything's quiet and you can finally hear.
Yeah.
I heard 3 words: submitted, prepared, and available. And so that happened once. It happened again. I'm like, okay, Lord, what are you trying?
Right.
What are you doing here? What are you doing here? And I would hear things in the night, and the Lord just kept hammering that to be submitted. So I said, okay, well, that's something I have to do. I have to submit myself to this call. I didn't know what that meant at the time. I didn't know where it would take me, what would become of it. And then he said, prepared. And then the Lord started dealing with me about getting credentialed and going through the courses and all of that. And let me just be honest. After all the schooling I had done, even postdoctoral work, the last thing I wanted to do was take another class.
Right.
But I submitted myself.
Right.
Wow.
And went through preparation. Back then it was Berean School of the Bible, and then it's since joined now with Global University. And went through 20 classes, 2 internships, to become licensed and all of that. And so that took some real submission. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
It took real submission to do that.
Yeah.
And especially taking baccalaureate level classes after an earned doctorate. Yeah. I mean, wow.
That didn't faze me because I was still learning the history of the church. I was learning hermeneutics, homiletics, and, all the stuff, how to really prepare and put, sermons together and all that very practical stuff. I needed that. And so I wasn't even, I didn't concern myself at all as to what level it was on. later on in the Missouri School of Ministry, they did ask me to teach a couple of classes,
Mhm.
on the certified level, prison epistles and those kinds of things, which I was happy to do. But then that third leg the Lord took me down was being prepared. So submitted,
Mm.
prepared, and available. So being available. Um, at that point, I started saying, well, Lord, I have a few more years here before I'm even available for early retirement. And so the Lord just began to give me, and I talked to my husband about it, just gave a strategy. And for my last 3 years, I was using that as my time to go through the preparation phase, the classes and all of that. And then at that time, I turned in my intent to retire 3 years ahead of time,
Mm.
which, I didn't even know how that would be perceived and all of that. But the school district I was working for at the time had made it up to assistant superintendent level. They were happy for the 3-year notice,
Mhm.
and they used it as an opportunity to begin to prepare
Wow.
for me to come out and those kinds. So it worked out beautifully.
Mm.
And so, yeah, the Lord just worked all of that out. And so then after that, I was like, okay, now, Lord, now what? Evangelist, because I knew the Lord wasn't calling me necessarily to a pastoral ministry. And, I'm not really into all of the titles and things. And so I was like, okay, Lord. So I just kept that as it's my mission statement. If you look on any of materials for Scholar Ministries, it's submitted, prepared, available.
Wow.
Love it.
And
Love
so the Lord just let me know he would open up the doors. I knew a lot of people in ministry, pastors, the whole 9 yards. People were like, I can open up doors for you. I can help you do, I can. And the more I heard that, the more I ran, because I was
Mm.
like, I don't want that. I don't want to be beholden to anyone. I didn't
Mhm.
want to have a specific loyalty to anyone because they made me, opened up doors. I got her started on her. I didn't want any of that. I said, Lord, if you called me to this, I am just submitting myself to you and whatever doors you open. And to this day, I have never asked for one engagement
Hmm.
Wow.
or anything. So some of the very first early doors were international doors. Come tag along. We're
Mhm.
going to, run a festival here. We need a woman on the team. We need a woman who can minister. We're going into Muslim countries, even though we're Christian, their traditions and customs and culture was Muslim, even though we were going to Christians. They didn't allow men to minister to women
Mm.
Hmm.
Wow.
in the same settings. So it was like, we need a woman. So I said, okay. So I started doing international ministries and have built those relationships with Scholar Ministries, also supports missionaries on the ground.
Wow.
We hear their needs and we attend to their needs. And if I'm talking too much, let me know.
We've got you on because we want to hear you. So
That's
Okay.
great.
All righty. So the international, and we still have those ministries today. We support full-time missionaries on the ground in Mozambique. A couple of ministries there. One is a full-time a missionary from Brazil, and because Mozambique's official language is Portuguese, the Lord sent him there because he speaks Portuguese, and he started doing missionary work there. And he has done about 12 church plants right now.
Mm.
And so we support him. He also has a school. We support a teacher there every month. You'd be surprised, $60 will pay for a
Yeah.
teacher's salary for a whole month. And so
Wow.
there's another, and he brings me in periodically when they bring all the churches together to kind of have a conference. Um, and so I've had now relationships with them for about 7 years. There's another missionary couple there, originally from Missouri, and they're in Beira, Mozambique, and they call themselves Equip Mozambique. They do a lot of infrastructure training. They have an IT school. They have a sewing school. They do a lot of infrastructure business type things there. But because they're fluent, whenever I go around and speak in churches and all that, they'll come and help do the interpretation and
Oh,
all of
that's
that.
awesome. Great
And
relationship.
we help to sponsor their sewing school. They send materials here. I make it available to anybody who wants. I never charge anything, just a donation to the ministry. We support them monthly. And the IT school, the students there design my website. I pay a monthly hosting fee for them. It's also advertisement. Who did your website? Well,
Yeah,
equipment.
sure.
So
So,
that's thing there. I was doing going monthly doing worship, praise and worship for a woman who had a ministry once a month, one Sunday a month at the women's prison here in Missouri. Missouri has 2 women's prisons. And so we were going to one of them and I was helping out with the worship, altar, whatever she needed, I was helping. One day the chaplain, the lead main chaplain, he stopped in and he said, I really need help in the hole. I need help in the segregated units. The needs are so great. I'm only able to get there about 20 minutes a month. I really need a woman because I'm a man and the issues are very delicate a lot of the times. He said, I would really like one of you women who are available to come in during the week and help me, 2 or 3 times a month, but sustained time, like 2-3 hours at a time, just go in and minister.
wow.
So I didn't have the time to do it. And here's where going through all that process, it finally hit me. Out of all 4 women who have been going in, doing a Sunday service once a month, out of all 4 women, I was the only one credentialed.
Wow. Wow.
So the lot fell to me.
Submitted, prepared, and available.
See, people don't realize I don't need credentials to do what I'm doing for the Lord. I don't need credentials.
Wow.
You may not need for what you're doing or the aspect the Lord has called you to. But there are certain doors you cannot walk through.
That's so good.
Unless you have what the secular will recognize as a vetted, experienced minister with backing behind you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, although, I don't one way or the other, I just let people know that at the time the Lord told me to do that, I didn't know what I would need it for. I've ministered to prisons in Mozambique. I have, the Lord has opened up, going in to visit with hospitals. Sometimes the people I didn't know. I had to sign in at the station with my credentials that they would recognize me as a minister coming in because somebody sent me to visit with somebody.
Yeah. Wow.
Somebody I rarely even knew. So when I walked in, I could say, I'm minister so-and-so here to see so-and-so. Okay, sign the register, sign the book. They have a special registry. Who knew? I didn't. For sign in as a minister. And I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I got this little card.
Yeah, right.
I was in Cuba on a mission trip. And I was wiped out. We were there like 13 days or I was there. And I'm like, look, I got to get to somebody's church. We were in Santiago. It was on a Sunday night, our free night. It was on a Sunday night. We had gone with the group to some other, churches that had sponsored us coming in. I'm like, look, I need some fire. I need some fire. I got a cab and found a little, iglesia, whatever it was. It was Hispanic Assembly of God Church. And got a cab on a Sunday night, didn't know a soul, went to the door, spoke very little Spanish, and flashed my card. They took my card to the back to the pastor's office. They came back, escorted me to the front, sat me on the front row of the service that night, acknowledged me, gave away to the congregation, and the pastor and his wife and family took me back to the hotel that night, and it was a joyous time. I'm just saying there are doors that were open for you
Yeah.
because
That's
people
a good word. Good.
know a recognized name
Right.
that's been vetted, that you've been through a process of ministry, that they know, even if they don't know you, they know you by affiliation.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
And
is.
that's not just Assemblies of God, but everything. I was a little girl. I
Mhm,
grew up a little girl in Church of God in Christ. I know
mhm,
friends in Church of God, Anderson, Indiana, Church of God, Cleveland, Tennessee. It opens doors because those are partner and sister affiliations.
mhm.
And then, of course, non-denominational churches who came out of all of those groups,
Yeah,
you
right.
know, they recognize it. So it's just good to have that.
I
So
love your story.
that's
I,
part of what I do. Okay.
it's so inspiring. Your story of being called to evangelistic ministry. It's so encouraging. Often we hear the story, Tim, of the young person who is, called at a camp, and that's a wonderful story in its own right. But I love your story, Shirley's, of being a career educator. My wife was a career educator as well, but then having God speak to you and say, now here's your assignment for this
Mhm.
season of your life, and then you being willing to go through the preparation process of preparing for, okay, God, this is how you want to use me in this season. How would you encourage someone who's listening or watching today that is praying through the call to be an evangelist? Maybe they're in a season of their life like you were. One career is over, another one's coming, or maybe they're a young person. But I mean, one of the things I've already heard you say is be willing to prepare yourself and the
So good.
value of that. But anything else you would add to that to coach us along and help us in how we respond to the call of God on our life as evangelists?
Well, my heart is really right now going out for the younger people. As we've talked in the past with Tim and the leadership he's given us, we're all concerned about young ones coming through and the fact that the evangelist field, if you will, um, not the calling to evangelists, but those who are really stepping out and
Mhm.
pursuing that area of ministry has really dwindled over the years. And so a lot of us are older now. And so one of the things I would really like to see is how are we going to prepare young ministers who feel called to the evangelism field? How are we going to support them?
Mhm.
And that's one thing I've been talking to my leadership about. As a matter of fact, we just came out of our district, I'm sorry, our network of
Network. Yeah,
leaders.
yeah.
We're
Gotta
all
get it
getting
right.
used. We all have to undo
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in our heads. But I just had this conversation. And so my husband and I will be in talks, and I've talked to the superintendent. Lord has placed it on my heart to maybe, because the organization is so missions focused,
Mhm,
if you will, and of course the pastors or the foundational
mhm.
um, part of this particular organizations, and then the offshoot of missions being supported through the
Right.
local church and all of that. So I'm putting together a proposal, a written proposal to our ministry network. I'm Northern Missouri, but I'm right across the river from Southern Missouri. So I do a lot of work in Southern Missouri, but I'm technically Northern Missouri. And in Northern Missouri, on my side of the state, which is St. Charles, Peters, St. Charles County, all of that, across the Missouri River, and then all the way over to Kansas City on this side of the state, on the eastern side of the state, if you will. In my district, I'm the only evangelist. And then
Wow.
the western side of the state, I think there are officially three.
Yep.
One, no one ever really sees because that person is on the road and gone all the time.
Mhm.
Wonderful ministry. I've never met him. Michael, we just had a talk. We
Yep.
talked at the evangelist.
I think her
I think we
internet
froze up.
connection. Yeah, internet connection giving us a problem here.
And then there's one other I haven't met. So I've really only met one other evangelist in our
Mm.
whole ministry network on the Northern Missouri side. None of us are young.
It's true.
Michael's probably the youngest.
Yeah.
none of us are young. And so I am writing a proposal and going to pitch it to Tracy Cook, who is our superintendent. Um, Pastor Paul McDonald is our superintendent. Pitch it to them because under Tracy Cook, which is the assistant superintendent, he runs the missions efforts. So I want to propose doing what Tim mentioned a while back in one of our ministries, actually putting together an evangelist in residence to come under
Wow.
the missions block. Because even sitting at our district, our ministry network meeting, there was all the waving of the flags, hoots and all that for the ministries, the missionaries who were here on furlough or who were locals and who travel around U.S. side, some are in from internet, all that. There was not one word the entire conference about an evangelist or evangelist work. And I don't need that because I'm very secure in what the
Mhm.
Lord has called me to. But a young person starting out and
Right.
don't really know how to get their bearings, how to support themselves. So I'm writing a proposal that we do an evangelist in residence to come under the missions area of the district, and that we would sponsor a young person coming out, maybe coming out of school, or maybe they're young married, maybe they have a toddler or two, and they're still trying to figure out how to have some stability in
Yeah.
their income or whatever, because in our organization, whoever is the call, the spouse is usually the one who has to have the steady job so they can have
Mhm.
insurance, so they can have all of that.
Yeah. No,
So
that's great.
getting started is tough. So I want to propose that maybe my husband and I maybe just, and it doesn't even, we don't need it to be named after us or anything, but just have a line item or something for that where we could sponsor maybe $1,000 a month, maybe put a $12,000 seed, maybe
Mhm.
$1,000 a month, just for some supplemental income to help a young
Wow.
evangelist to get their footing. Or if it's two, and depending on the need, and they already got some stuff going, maybe two $500 stipends or something like that for 2 people.
Yeah.
But
That's
I
amazing.
would let the assistant superintendent who handles it, they can do all that. I don't need to be a part of any scrutiny or interviewing or anything like that. They just will have some seed money to help a young evangelist get their footing, or maybe just help with insurance or something,
Yeah.
even if they came under the district staff's insurance,
Yeah.
something where
Yeah.
they can get started so they won't have to do that. I was
Yeah.
fortunate. I was able to retire early. I
Mhm.
didn't get a pension that I would have gotten if I had stayed, all the
Yeah.
way. But I retired at 55, right at 55. I'm 2 weeks from turning 55, but they counted it. So, so I was able to get a little pension. Everybody doesn't have that. Most people don't have, because
Yeah.
pensions are out of style in our country.
Right.
So very few companies even do pensions anymore. And still, even with that, my husband, who's a CPA and CFO and all that he was still, because he's the money man. You're leaving money on the table. No, but this isn't about money. This is about calling.
That's good.
And
Wow.
so the Lord always, will take
Yeah.
care of that. And if you do the Lord's business, He'll take care of your business. So
Yeah.
I never worried about that part of it. And the Lord has opened every door. I've never asked for an engagement ever, ever, ever. It's just been amazing. So that's what I would do for the young people. First of all, try and see if they can pin Holy Spirit down to His leading, and we know what that is simply.
Yeah.
Just get in the
Yeah.
Lord's face and inquire of the Lord what you have me to do once you
Mhm.
sense that call. And it may look like no other. Uh,
Yeah.
people sometimes they're inquisitive about the name Scholar Ministries. And the Lord has blessed me to do 2 books, and I have some other things going. But because of the background I came through and how far I had gotten in the secular, I was determined to do at least that much, if not more,
Hmm.
Wow.
in ministry.
Yeah.
So I'm committed to researching and learning and prayer and teaching and whatever doors the Lord opens for me.
Yeah.
So I'm in constant professional development.
I love
I
it.
love
That's
You
so
know,
encouraging.
what a great word to all of us. To stay in development. Wow, Aaron.
Yeah. Yeah. That was so good. Your testimony of just how God's called you into ministry, how you've responded in this season of your life, how you continue to respond. That's so encouraging.
It
And
is.
it's going to be it is a great model for so many current evangelists, as well as those that are considering being called into ministry. Um, Thanks for being with us today on this episode. We're honored that you joined us, Shirleas. For someone who would like to contact you, what's the easiest way for them to get a hold of you? Is it a website or email, or how can they reach out to you?
I do have a website, and that's an easy one. It's scholarministries.com.
Okay.
It's that easy.
Perfect.
I do have, let's see, mobile text. A lot of people with texting now and all that, they'll just text me 314-568-4578.
Awesome.
And then there's an email, 314, which is the area code of St. Louis, 314 Scholar Ministries, all one word, 314 Scholar Ministries at gmail.com.
Awesome.
And
And
so
Tim was wondering
evangelist,
if you had a bank account number that you could give him as
Yeah.
well. No, I'm just
And what your PIN number is. Yeah, no, I'm teasing.
but
No,
oh, there
um,
is a cash app, dollar sign Shirleas Washington.
no, this has been great. Shirley, we're so honored that you've joined us. And for those
Well,
of
we're
us,
just excited to serve in
yeah,
ministry. And as you can see from the name of the ministry and the things we're doing, we
yeah,
are available for whatever the needs are.
amen, amen.
Some people, contact me for all kinds of things, workshops, prayer. I've done prayer workshops. I've done shut-ins. I've done 7 p.m. Friday night, 7 to 7 a.m. Saturday morning. Back in the day, old Pentecost, we called them shut-ins.
Come
you're
on,
right.
that's
and
good.
Shut ins and
um,
shut outs. Yeah.
shut-ins and all of that, and we teach, and you never know what the Lord is calling you to. If I can give one quick testimony,
Yeah.
I was asked, I had been part of a Zoom call prayer meeting. It was a marketing ministry in the marketplace ministry, some real estate people, business people, primarily women, but a few men. And they were meeting by prayer on Zoom, and they were all levels of their experience with God, some newcomers, some established, and all of that. And so they would ask me periodically to come on, do some teaching and lead in prayer. And so did that for about a year or two. And then they said, we want more. Can you come to, it was based out of Milwaukee. Can you come to Milwaukee? And they said, because we want a longer time of prayer. 1 hour is not long enough. We want
Mhm.
sustained prayer. Some of us are really wanting more of God. We're learning and all of that. So I said, well, let's come. I said, what is it you're looking for? They said, well, we've heard about lock-ins and all of that. And I was like, no, you don't want a lock-in. I said, lock-in is for young people. Stay all night, run around, and
Right.
I said, you don't want that. I said, what you want is called a shut-in. They had never heard of shut-in. And I said, because you're working people, I can do a Friday night 7 to Saturday morning 7 a.m. And we
Wow.
just stay in all night and seek God. Do you not know there was just so much deliverance and freedom
Mhm.
took place that night? It was just amazing. And this one just shot chills through me. There was a woman in that meeting whose son was the last victim of Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh my lands.
Wow.
Can you imagine the years
Oh.
worth of woundedness and
Mm.
trauma this lady had suffered in her soul realm?
Wow.
Hmm.
and
Mm.
the deliverance that took place through
Mm.
that. When people cry buckets, when
Yeah.
people cry, they are being freed and relieved from the stress, the pressure, the anxiety, the
Right.
deep woundedness in their soul that had never been dealt with. And I
Hmm.
like, Lord, that one lady for 12 hours in prayer, that was worth it.
Come on.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Wow. What a
Yeah.
story. What a
Yes.
story. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And Aaron, what do people need to do to find us or
Yeah. I mean, if you're with us and you're finding encouragement and inspiration through this podcast, we would love it if you would like it, click on notifications, follow all that subscribe, all the buttons, all the words, right, Tim? But also I think Shirley's testimony today is worth sharing. And so,
it is. It
somebody
is.
who is in need of some encouragement or someone who's praying through the call to be an evangelist, send them the link and let them be inspired, let them be encouraged by this testimony, this story today. So thanks for
Submit it,
joining us.
prepared,
Oh, so go
available.
ahead. What's
Submit
that?
it, prepared, available. That's the
There,
words
there.
today.
Yeah, that's it.
So,
That's it right
so
there.
good.
It's so good. So thanks everyone for joining us today for this episode of I Want to Be an Evangelist. And we will see you on the next one.